Hi, I'm Emily M. Keeler. I'm the books editor here at the National Post. Recently, Maclellan and Stewart has brought back a novel that was first published in 1976. It's called Bear by Marian Engle, and in that year it was awarded the Governor General's Literary Prize, despite the fact that it includes some erotic scenes between Lou, a 27-year-old archivist working remotely in Northern Ontario, and a literal bear. Joining me today for a close reading of select passages from Bear are Haley Mlotek, the editor-in-chief of The Hairpin, and Monica Heisey, a comedian whose forthcoming book, I Can't Believe It's Not Better, is hilarious. Deep in her files was buried the original letter from the director, instructing her to A. Catalog the library left to the Institute by Colonel Carey on Carey Island, B. Make separate annotations regarding the history and condition of this library, C. Report at length on the suitability of Carey Island as a center for research into the human geography of the northern region, and D. List, with sources, any additional information that would be useful to historians interested in the Carey period of the settlement. She read the instructions twice and sighed with relief. Anything she did would be relevant. Now she had her license to exist.
This passage takes place in the first two-thirds of the book, which were a very confusing and difficult time for me as a reader, because I only came to the book sort of in the past couple weeks, and I had heard already about the more salacious elements of the plot. I'd seen the viral PDF of some of the passages, so I spent the whole first 74 pages of the book just kind of waiting as she did gentle archival work and dusted an old home for her to finally decide to do the bear.
So in this passage, we see a very specific work-related anxiety that Lou is having about whether or not she has the right, as she says, to exist, a license to exist. Throughout the book, Lou talks a lot about how she loves her job, and it's something that, gives her a sense of purpose, but it seems as though she's not being entirely honest with herself and that she's still looking for something else to give her that sense of purpose, a job, a boss, an island, a city, and eventually the bear in some sense, which, as somebody who cares about their job a lot, I found very relatable.
She drove back, her thoughts divided. She felt she was taking a man away from his wife. She felt she was offering him something of a holiday. She was glad his wife adopted children and refused to man gas pumps, but she was angry with her and raised her querulous voice. Fishwives give us all a bad name, she thought. Fishwives, fish widows, and we all set out to be mermaids.
So in this passage, we meet one of the only other female characters of the book, which is the wife of the groundskeeper of the property. And she's, her own woman, and Lou's very fair with her, but she doesn't seem to be a very bright person. And Lou makes this comment about how seeing her as a fishwife is so difficult because we all set out to be mermaids, which I think speaks a lot to the way Lou is still trying to figure out what sort of person she wants to be for herself versus how she wants other people to see her.
I found Lou's character sort of infuriating throughout the book, and I think this passage is a really good example as to why. Throughout the novella, she kind of has a problem identifying herself as a female human woman, and everyone else's identities are sort of similarly amorphous. The bear is Byron's bear, and the bear is sort of all these ideas, and she's a woman, and she's an imitation man, and she wants to be a mermaid. And it's like, Lou, relax. It's fine as a human person. It's gonna be okay.
Byron's bear danced, she whispered, but he paid no attention. If he had known you, would the beau have finished his days among nuns, playing with his turdies? Sometimes the bear half ripped her skin with his efficient tongue. Sometimes he became distracted. She had to cajole and persuade him. She put honey on herself and whispered to him, but once the honey was gone, he wandered off, farting, and too soon satisfied.
So when I was reading this book, I was thinking a lot about how every era and every region gets the perverts that they deserve, which I think Bear exemplifies very, very well. It is uniquely Canadian, of course, in the location, in the setting, and the way she describes her surroundings, and with the choice of animal. But there was something particularly about the fact that Lou puts honey on herself to get the bear to come spend some time with her, if you will. That struck me as particularly Canadian.
It does feel like once Lou's relationship with the bear really takes off, that the book enters more comfortably into what can seem to me like a satire of Canadian literature. I think this particular instance where she's spending time with the bear is just one of a few instances where the bear kind of stands in as our obsession with the landscape and the Canadian wilderness. The ultimate can-lit dream is to get on all fours and take it from the majesty of nature.
I think I was most surprised by how relatable this book is, because obviously I have never thought too much about bears and definitely never wanted to bear, but now who knows?
Did you know this book is dedicated to her therapist?